So imagine you're listening to this beautifully produced, totally immersive piece of music.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, it's a song that really hits you.
Right.
And then you find out that no human being was involved in making it at all.
None.
Literally zero. No one
Mm-hmm.
strummed a guitar. No one wrote a single lyric. No one sat in a vocal booth late at night pouring their heart out into a mic.
Yeah, it's a wild thought.
It is. And the craziest part is, in a recent global test, 97% of people had absolutely no idea they were listening to a machine.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you sent over this stack of research for us to dive into today, that was the specific statistic that just, made me stop dead in my tracks.
I mean, it really forces a total reevaluation of, well, how we interact with media in general.
Definitely. Welcome to the deep dive, everyone.
Glad to be here.
Because we are looking at a fundamental collapse of a really deeply ingrained psychological habit.
Yes, exactly. Because for the entire history of recorded audio, if you heard a song with, structure and melody and emotion, you safely assumed a human consciousness was behind it.
Right. It was a given.
Exactly. That implicit trust was just always there. But now,
Yeah,
that trust is gone.
it's completely gone.
And the scale of this shift is something most consumers are, frankly, completely blind to, even though it is actively rewriting the architecture of their daily playlists.
Okay, so let's unpack this because the main dispatch, you had us read this post from May 31st, 2026, from the platform BeatsToRapOn, or BTR.
BTR.
It outlines a problem that is honestly staggering when you step back and look at the sheer mechanics of it.
It really is.
Because right now, you basically have three distinct categories of music colliding in your feeds.
Okay, break those down.
So you have fully human-made music, then you have human-led, but AI-assisted music.
Right.
And finally, you have fully AI-generated music.
Yeah.
But the catch, and this is the massive catch, is that listeners, the curation algorithms, and even the platform executives, they can no longer reliably distinguish between them.
Because they all sound finished.
Exactly. They all sound finished, and they all upload the exact same way.
Which brings us, I think, to the core mission of today's deep dive.
Yeah, what's the actual mission here?
We are really exploring this concept of provenance.
Provenance.
Right. How do you definitively prove human authorship in an ecosystem that is suddenly capable of perfect synthetic replication?
Right. How do you prove a human was there?
Exactly. And BTR's post details the rollout of this brand new global standard called TrackOrigin.
TrackOrigin, though.
Yeah. And TrackOrigin is attempting to reconstruct that broken trust signal between artists and fans. But before we get into the solution, we really have to understand the anatomy of the crisis.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
And the anatomy of this crisis is basically just pure volume.
The sheer scale of it.
Right. The data drop in this BTR article paints a picture of an infrastructure that is just buckling under a synthetic flood.
Yeah. Let's look at those numbers.
Let's do it. So they cited data from Deezer in April 2026.
Okay.
44% of all music delivered to the platform in a single day was AI generated.
44%.
Almost half.
Which is, that is an operational nightmare for a streaming service.
I can't even imagine.
If almost half of your daily ingest is synthetic, you aren't just dealing with a new genre. You're dealing with basically a denial of service attack on human curation.
That is a great way to put it, a denial of service attack. Because that 44% equates to over 2 million fully synthetic tracks entering the platform every single month.
2 million a month?
Yeah, meaning 18% of the entire working catalog is now completely AI generated.
Wow.
And, if you're sitting there listening to this thinking, well, I would be the exception, I have a great ear for artificial artifacts.
Right, the I can tell by the pixels argument.
Exactly. But the data rigorously refutes that.
It really does.
BTR highlighted this Ipsos blind test involving 9,000 listeners across 8 different countries.
That's a huge sample size.
It wasn't just some small focus group. This was a massive, globally representative sample. And 97% of those listeners could not reliably flag a fully AI-generated track.
97%.
Yeah. It kind of makes me think of an analogy to explain the scale here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Like, imagine walking into a massive community bake sale.
Okay, a bake sale.
And someone tells you that 44% of the cakes were 3D printed overnight.
Right.
But they look identical to the real ones. And 97% of the judges can't taste the difference at all.
That's a terrifying bake sale.
Right. And at that volume, you literally can't manually inspect every single slice of cake.
You just don't have the time or the manpower.
Exactly.
What's fascinating here is the threshold we've crossed.
What do you mean?
Well, we often think of AI detection like spotting a bad Photoshop job, right?
Right, looking for the extra finger or the weird shadow.
Exactly. But in digital audio, the pixels have been perfected.
Wow. Perfected pixels.
Yeah. The algorithms, the digital gatekeepers at Spotify or Apple or Deezer,
Yeah.
they are just as blind as the human listeners.
That's wild to think about.
Because when a finished audio file, like a WAV or a FLAC file, hits a streaming platform's ingest pipeline, it basically functions as a black box.
A black box, okay.
The code simply registers a finalized package of acoustic data. It doesn't know where it came from.
Because at that stage, it's literally just ones and zeros.
Exactly.
Without a layer of proof attached at the source, a real artist's meticulously crafted master recording looks absolutely identical to, a batch of 500 tracks a teenager prompted a server farm to generate before breakfast.
Which is exactly why guessing is no longer a viable strategy for the industry.
You can't just guess anymore.
No, you cannot build a sustainable economic model or maintain a culture of artistic integrity on a foundation of guessing. If the platform algorithms and the listeners cannot identify human origin after the file is rendered, then the entire paradigm has to shift.
So what's the shift?
The industry had to move from reactive detection to proactive verification.
Okay, proactive verification.
The new governing principle is provenance must be established before distribution.
Before it even goes out into the world.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of that proof. And this new standard you mentioned earlier, TrackOrigin.
Right.
But I think to really grasp how TrackOrigin functions, we have to clearly define what it is not.
That's a good point, yeah.
Because when people hear AI music tech, the default assumption is that it's a detector, right?
Like some kind of digital scanner looking for synthetic hi-hats.
Exactly. But TrackOrigin isn't a streaming service. It isn't a distributor. And it is definitely not an AI detector.
Right.
Furthermore, BTR explicitly notes in their post that it is not a replacement for the back-end plumbing the industry already relies on, things like ISRC, DDX, or C2PA.
Let's clarify that back-end stuff, actually, because it highlights the exact void TrackOrigin is filling.
Okay, yeah, break those down.
Think of the current digital supply chain. You have the ISRC, which is the International Standard Recording Code.
Okay, ISRC.
That is essentially the barcode on a product. It identifies a specific sound recording for royalty tracking.
Got it, the barcode.
Then you have DDEX, which is the logistics standard.
Logistics.
Yeah, it's the digital shipping manifest that moves release metadata like song titles and copyright dates between the labels and the platforms.
Okay, so DDX is the shipping manifest.
And finally, you have C2PA, which is a newer protocol that basically logs the digital toolchain used to modify a file.
Right, what software was used. But, and this is the kicker, none of those actually answer the ultimate question.
One of them.
Because the ISRC tracks a product, DDX ships the product, and C2PA logs the software used on the product. But not a single one of those systems proves that a real conscious human being actually wrote, performed, or, meaningfully directed the creation of that track.
And that is the critical missing piece. That's the void. TrackOrigin defines itself as the authorship layer.
The authorship layer.
Right. It operates independently of those other systems to secure the one thing they can't, the human relationship to the work.
So how do they actually pull that off? Because BTR's post breaks down the TrackOrigin verification into this 4-step process.
Yeah, and they claim it takes an artist under 15 minutes to complete.
Under 15 minutes. Okay, so step 1 is the upload.
Right.
The artist uploads their finished master file, the actual high-res WAV, FLAC, or AIFF. They aren't just linking out to a profile somewhere.
No, they have to provide the file.
TrackOrigin ingests that specific audio to bind the verification directly to the sound waves.
And this prevents a very specific type of fraud, actually.
Oh, how so?
By anchoring the process to the high-resolution master file, an artist cannot verify a legitimate acoustic guitar track and then, quietly swap the audio file for a fully synthetic one later in the distribution pipeline.
Oh, that makes sense. You lock down the exact audio.
Exactly.
Okay, so step 2 is declare.
Declare. Yeah.
This is a formalized structural breakdown of the creative process. So the artist details their role, the instruments they used, the specific digital audio workstation like Ableton or Logic.
Right, the DAAW.
And who their collaborators were. Crucially, they must also declare what AI tools they utilized. It's a comprehensive creation statement.
It's basically showing your math.
Exactly. But step 3 is where I have to push back a bit,
Okay, let's hear it.
because it fundamentally alters how we think about testing media. Step 3 is demonstrate.
Demonstrate.
TrackOrigin requires the artist to conduct a live session, usually between 60 and 120 seconds, demonstrating their human relationship to the work on camera. And then step 4 is verify, where they are issued the origin seal.
But wait, let me just play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
Why are we testing the person and not the file? Like, if a machine generated the audio, shouldn't we just build better machine learning software to analyze the audio and catch it?
Because analyzing the final output is a guaranteed losing game.
Really? Why?
This is the endless arms race of digital forensics.
The arms race.
Yeah. Think about it. If TrackOrigin built the world's most sophisticated AI audio detector today, they would effectively just be handing generative AI models their next training target.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that.
Right. The AI would just iterate, learn what tripped the detector, and beat it by tomorrow morning.
It would just train itself to bypass the detector.
Exactly. TrackOrigin realized that in a world of perfect synthetic media, you have to step outside the arms race entirely.
So you look at the human instead.
By requiring a live 60 to 120 second demonstration, the verification is anchored in physical reality.
You cannot fake the messy human process of creation if you are forced to do it live on camera.
That makes total sense. So like you said, you're forcing the creator to show their math.
Exactly.
You can't just hand in the final test score. You have to show the scrap paper.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, so an artist runs this 15-minute gauntlet and reaches step 4. They receive the origin seal.
The origin seal.
But BTR's post makes it very clear this isn't just a shiny sticker. And here's where it gets really interesting.
It does.
Because when we hear seal, we naturally picture like a JPEG watermark on an album cover.
Right, a little graphic.
But a JPEG could be screen grabbed and pasted by anybody.
Oh, yeah. Far from it. The origin seal is a live, cryptographically signed provenance signal.
Okay, pause. Walk us through how that cryptographic binding actually works in practice, because that sounds like heavy jargon.
It does sound heavy, but think of it as a digital lock and key that's tied to the exact fingerprint of the song.
Okay, a lock and key.
Remember when the artist uploads that WAV file in step 1? TrackOrigin runs it through an algorithm to generate a unique cryptographic hash.
A hash.
Right, which is basically a long string of characters unique to that exact arrangement of audio data.
Like a digital fingerprint.
Exactly. And the origin seal manifest, which contains all the artist's declarations and the verified proof, is then cryptographically bound to that hash.
Okay, so they are locked together.
Right. So if a bad actor tries to steal the seal and attach it to a different AI-generated song, the hashes won't match.
Oh.
And the seal immediately registers as invalid. It is a tamper-evident, auditable chain of custody.
That is brilliant. And the best part is the portability of it.
Yes.
BTR highlights that this seal doesn't belong to Spotify, and it doesn't even belong to BPR. It belongs to the artist.
It travels with the file.
Once you earn that origin seal, it travels with the track anywhere. You can embed it in your electronic press kit, you can attach it to sync submissions for film and television, or display it on partner profiles.
It's totally decentralized in that way.
Exactly. Which brings us directly to BTR's role in all of this. Because BeatsToRapOn is the first platform to actually integrate this standard at launch.
And BTR's motivation for being the first mover here is incredibly revealing about the psychological state of independent musicians right now.
What do you mean by that?
Well, they weren't pressured into this by major record labels trying to protect legacy catalogs.
Right. No, the post states they were being completely inundated with emails from their own independent artist community.
The indie artists wanted this.
Yeah. These artists were begging for a mechanism to publicly mark their tracks as human-made. They weren't asking BTR to ban AI tools entirely.
No.
And they weren't asking for AI tracks to be shadow banned or punished. They simply wanted a distinct lane.
They wanted to be seen.
They wanted to be able to raise their hand in a crowded digital room and say, hey, I actually played this bass line. I actually wrote this verse.
So BTR just integrated TrackOrigin directly into their backend.
Yeah.
And the user interface for this is elegantly simple.
It really is. Like, once a BTR artist completes the TrackOrigin process, they receive a specific certificate number.
Yeah, okay.
Inside their BTR workspace, there's this newly added field labeled TO for TrackOrigin.
Right.
The artist just pastes their certificate number into that field, hits save, and the system automatically generates a human-made badge right next to the track title on the web platform.
And on their upcoming fan app, too.
Right. And fans can then use an optional filter to browse exclusively for verified human-made tracks.
Which is a great feature for the fans.
It is. But I have a major question about the incentives here.
Okay, what's the question?
Because BTR explicitly states in this post that acquiring this badge does not alter search rankings. It doesn't alter discovery algorithms, chart placement, or royalty payouts.
None of that changes.
Your track does not get an algorithmic boost just because you verified it.
Right.
So if I'm an independent artist and I'm already stretched incredibly thin, and this doesn't give me a financial or algorithmic advantage, why bother taking the 15 minutes to do it?
That's the big question. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it forces us to rethink why artists share their work in the first place.
Okay, tell me more.
We have been conditioned over the last decade to believe that every single action in the digital creator economy must be driven by algorithmic optimization.
Right, chasing the algorithm.
Or an immediate bump in revenue. But artists are fiercely protective of the authentic relationship they have with their listeners. The incentive here is pure honesty.
Pure honesty.
Yeah. Furthermore, BTR has negotiated 15 free verification credits for artists on their waitlist, which completely removes the initial financial friction.
Oh, that's smart. It's essentially a bet that fan loyalty is more valuable long-term than just a temporary algorithm spike.
Exactly.
And I really love that BTR is keeping this entirely optional. Like, use it if you want it, skip it if you don't. Either way, you're an artist on BTR.
It's not a punishment.
By not altering the royalties or the search rankings, they are maintaining a neutral infrastructure. They aren't passing a moral judgment on the music itself. They are just providing transparency.
And that non-punitive, purely optional approach reveals a very mature philosophical stance.
How so?
Well, it acknowledges that the future of music production is not a binary choice. It's not between pure acoustic purism on one side and fully autonomous AI generation on the other.
Right. It's not black and white.
Yeah.
Let's dive into that philosophy, actually, because BTR is very deliberate in stating they are not anti-AI.
They're actively embracing the reality of hybrid workflows.
Yes, because modern flesh and blood producers use artificial intelligence constantly.
Every day.
They use machine learning tools to isolate vocal stems. They use AI plugins to generate complex drum patterns.
Yep.
Automated mastering software to polish their final mix, and generative tools for ideation when they just hit writer's block.
It's part of the toolkit.
BTR openly acknowledges that these hybrid workflows are the working reality of the modern independent record. They aren't demanding artists pretend the technology doesn't exist.
And this is exactly why defining TrackOrigin as an authorship layer, rather than an AI detector, is so vital.
Right.
The industry has really struggled to articulate where the line should be drawn, but BTR's integration nails the distinction perfectly.
What is the distinction for them?
It is not about rejecting technological assistance. It is about accurate labeling of the primary creator.
Oh, okay.
Because a fully synthetic generation where a user just types a text prompt and the server spits out a finished 3-minute pop song pretending to be a human artist is a fundamentally different cultural artifact than a human producer utilizing an AI mastering plugin to finalize a record they conceptualized, wrote, and arranged.
So one scenario uses AI as a tool to execute a human's vision,
Yes,
while the other scenario uses AI to entirely replace the human's vision.
precisely. Both scenarios involve artificial intelligence. But the human relationship to the resulting audio file is radically different.
Radically different.
And TrackOrigin makes that invisible relationship visible, and BTR makes it accessible to the listener.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this deep dive right now? Why should you care about cryptographic hashes and ISRC codes and origin seals?
It's a valid question.
Because as a music fan, you deserve to know what you're connecting with.
Absolutely.
When you feel that visceral, emotional resonance with a song, you deserve to know if you are connecting with the lived experiences of another human being, or if you are simply reacting to perfectly optimized audio frequencies calculated by a machine learning model just to trigger an emotional response.
Yeah.
The artist who spent years honing their craft, literally bleeding into their work, deserves honest credit for what they built, and you, the listener, deserve honest consumption.
It's really about migrating the entire digital audio ecosystem, moving it from a state of anxious, constant guessing into a state of transparent, verifiable knowing.
It really is a paradigm shift. I mean, the invisible flood of AI-generated music broke the traditional trust signals we relied on for decades.
Completely broke them.
And now, TrackOrigin and pioneering platforms like BTR are laying the groundwork for a completely new era, an era where human authorship must be verified before distribution.
It's proactive.
It provides this portable, cryptographically secure mechanism for artists to stand up in the digital noise and say, I am here and I actually made this.
It is a remarkably elegant system, and clearly a necessary one given the volume of synthetic audio entering the market.
Definitely.
However, analyzing this framework does leave us with one very important and perhaps deeply unsettling question to ponder.
Oh boy, what's the question?
Well, we discussed how TrackOrigin's ultimate defense, the mechanism that sidesteps the AI audio arms race, is requiring a human to demonstrate their authorship live on camera for 60 to 120 seconds.
Right, step 3, the visual proof.
It relies entirely on the visual proof of process. But as technology rapidly evolves, particularly in the realm of real-time video generation, how long will it be before a fully AI-generated track can be accompanied by a seamlessly AI-generated video of a completely non-existent human convincingly demonstrating their fake creative process in a virtual DAW, when the visual proof itself can be flawlessly and artificially generated? How will we ever verify the verifier?
Wow. If the security camera itself starts generating fake footage in real time, the entire concept of proof just evaporates.
Exactly.
That is a truly wild thought to leave on. Thank you so much for sending these sources our way and joining us on this deep dive.
Always a pleasure.
To everyone listening, keep trusting your ears, but maybe start checking for that HumanMade badge, too. Always keep questioning the media you consume. We'll catch you next time.